Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. I'll link to that in the description below. You can also find it at the top of the chat. Join discussions, share ideas. I share my ideas there as well. So if you do want to join the community, find out a bit more about Elevating Traders, you can do all that there in the Discord. So go check it out if you haven't done so already. But guys, welcome back. Hope everyone's doing well and had a good weekend. Good morning, Matt. Hope you're good. What is up? Nayuki, Forex Trader, welcome to the stream. Happy Monday. Right back at you. Ivan, good morning. I hope you are well. So, as always, we'll go through the USD side of things first. Take a look at the dollar, USD majors, gold, silver. Probably go through a few indices as well. Any requests, any pairs you're trading, want to share, want my opinion, let me know. Of course, let me know time frames as well, because I tend to focus more so 4H, hourly, daily. If you want to go a bit more intraday or higher, let me know. Yeah, we'll start things off with the dollar. So for today, we have started off a little bit bearish, but nothing really has amounted much from that. We had a bit of a dip there, but prices looks like it's found support. I think this is the candle that opened up, found support, and we pushed up a little bit. But overall, for the dollar, I'm still looking at a bigger retracement. I'm still looking at a further upside. I've spoken about areas as such: 105.5, 106.3, 106.2 roughly. I'm looking for the dollar to come back to some of those areas before potentially a big sell. Potentially, I'm wrong. We could, of course, see that move now, but that's kind of the areas I'm interested in, and looking for euro to pull back, pound to pull back before I do look to find any long entries on those, and we'll take a look at those pairs in a moment. But at the moment, we've kind of broken out of this consolidation on the lower time frames, and looks like we're coming back for a retest of that prior high. So we'll look to see what the DXY can do at that support level. So far, looks like it's holding just about a few wicks to the downside. Not really much momentum, but we'll see if it picks up the pace or if it does just melt to the downside. If it does break through, what is this, 103.9, then I'm looking at price, of course, coming back to the low here. But we had a really nice double bottom a couple of weeks back. We'll probably come back and test that support level. So if you do see a strong break of this area, you're probably going to see some more weakness for maybe the for the next couple of days or so. And that might be some nice intraday opportunities on some of the USD pairs. But for now, I do think we will find support here. And I'm still looking at another push, the upside there for the dollar. In terms of Euro USD, again, looking at the opposite move, kind of. Euros kind of pull back into pretty much the same spot. But for Euro USD, so as you can see, prior support there, turn resistance. Nice double top back at the highs here. So as you can see, we tested it once there, second time. See it better in the 4-hour chart. So there's our first test, second test, price broke structure. We didn't break it so impulsively. It was very corrective, so not a good sign, to be honest. But I mean, it's actually a good sign for the buyers, actually. We have broke structure. Now we're coming back to test that as resistance. So far, not much of a rejection right there. Hourly chart, not really seen much either. So we might kind of move sideways for a little bit. Maybe in the afternoons when we pick our direction for the day. But at the moment, the market is still very, very flat. But if we reject this, then again, expecting another push down. I'm personally still looking at buying euro from 106, 106.2 roughly, 106. And also this area here around 105.2, 1.052, sorry. Those two levels look really, really good for some longs. We broke through them for a lot of momentum a few weeks back. Haven't come back for the retest yet, so it's still fresh. So if price does get there, there's a good chance that we do bounce and do see potentially a higher low form and potentially a swing back to the highs, which could be a really nice trade depending on how you get your entry. If you can scale lower, you're looking at a pretty big risk reward back to the swing high if you look to target there, of course. But yeah, the way I see it, Euro USD's had this big kind of reversal pattern. We've gone from looking very bearish to very corrective, kind of consolidating to a degree. Big break to the upside, so the plan is correction. and then continuation for euro. And of course, I'm expecting the opposite there for the dollar. But the retracement hasn't been enough for me. I'll look to see what we can do at this support level here. So if we come back down there, maybe reject it for a double bottom there, I might look for some entries if things look good. If not, I'll just wait, be patient, and see if price can come back to the areas I am interested in. And in terms of pound USD, pretty much the same idea, which is pullbacks, more buying opportunities. Again, I like the reversal that we've had there for pound. We've gone from a lovely bearish trend, quite a strong one as well, to quite a strong bullish trend. But the key thing is we've broken through that high there, giving us the break of structure. Now I'm expecting more upside there as well. We've left behind some really nice levels here for pound. Prior resistance, really strong break of that. Would be nice if price can come back and retest that 1.27. I'm also looking at the retest of the high here as well. At the moment, looks like pound USD just consolidating right now. You've had a big bullish move. I think momentum is just drying out. On the 4-hour chart, looks like resistance here is holding pretty well. So it does look like to me that pound USD is probably going to see a move to the downside. We've had a few attempts trying to continue back to highs. So back to highs here, 1.30120. You see first test, second test, massive wick, then the third test. And then we've had quite a lot kind of miniature tests on the lower time frames, and prices really respected that level on multiple occasions. So I do think we've got a good chance of rolling over. And then, yeah, hopefully we can find some buys probably next week at this point. It probably will take us at least a week to get back to these prices, unless we see a very bearish pound USD. It's probably going to take us a while to get there. But yeah, I like the longs at the low here, expecting a lot more upside, and just waiting for us to head back to support, and hopefully find some longs from those areas. Dollar CAD. So yeah, dollar CAD looking bullish this morning, coming off support here. Again, price just has been so stubborn at this level, just not breaking through. I was short on this pair a few weeks back over here, trying to hold through the break of support, but it just wasn't breaking. So I did close the trade a little bit early than I wanted to around here. And yeah, still price holds support. So again, for the dollar CAD, I'm still looking at a big bearish move. We've hit some big levels on the weekly chart, which I do think price can see a bit of downside from. In fairness, it has. You know, price has come back into this level, and it has seen a bit of downside. I'm just looking for a bit more. And we've got some really strong levels below us, which I think we have a good chance of coming back to retesting as well. But at the moment, can't ignore what price is doing, which is respecting support very well. And I think that probably will give us at least another push back to the high of the range, which is around 1.45. So for dollar CAD, I think more shorter term, I am a bit bullish on this one. Still looking for that bigger sell eventually, but going to have to be patient. See either price gets back into resistance and I find some shorts up here, or price suddenly breaks support there and I look for some pullbacks and a retest and some shorts probably on that level there as well. So I am still looking for that sell, but yeah, we're respecting support very well, so I can't be looking to jump the gun just yet, as buyers are holding that price pretty well. Aussie dollar looking pretty bearish this morning. Strong close down the 4-hour chart. I wouldn't say we've cleared support there completely. I'll probably say we're still just about hanging on, although momentum might kind of just spill over and take us to the downside. If we can see probably another strong close in the 4-hour chart like so, then yeah, I would say we've cleared that support level. Next expectation for Aussie dollar will be pushed to 0.62, and then perhaps the support down here at 0.612. But it does look pretty bearish here for Aussie dollar. We've respected that level on the daily/weekly chart very well. Had a couple attempts trying to break through, once over there, second time over there. Didn't really amount to much. Then we kind of had some type of head and shoulder pattern here, if you will, left head, right shoulder, and looks like we're trying to snap through that neckline. So yeah, if Aussie dollar keeps it up, we'll be back at this low at no time, and possibly 0.614, 612 as well. But the way I see it, there's a lot of bearish momentum. Might be some nice break and retest opportunities on the lower time frames to look for. It's still a very choppy pair really, so I'm not so enthusiastic about finding entries in these prices. If I'm going to enter Aussie dollar, I want it to be slightly higher up so I can get my stop loss above a major high or something like that. But yeah, I do still see price pushing lower. Ends the USD, kind of a similar situation as well, breaking through support or breaking out that consolidation, if you will. Again, this one having a really tough time trying to break through some levels on the daily and the weekly chart as well. As you can see, very strong rejection, particularly on the weekly. Left behind a couple wicks. I say a couple, quite a lot of wicks to the upside, especially a couple of weeks back with that wick there. So it does look like price is kind of respecting resistance. It might just roll over back into support down here, which is around 0.556. So dropping back to the 4-hour chart, perhaps this breakout will be the catalyst for that swing. And again, lower time frame entries is probably the best way to look at it. On some retest, and again, we'll be expecting price to at least swing its way back to that low there, 0.562. So pretty bearish on NZD USD. Again, I feel like NZD and Aussie are very, very weak right now. I don't feel like it's USD just being very, very strong. At the moment, we just had a look at the dollar. It doesn't look particularly strong right now. So it looks like NZD and Aussie are just very, very weak. And I suppose if they keep that up, they will keep falling. Over to gold. Gold I'm still pretty bullish on, and gold is just absolutely flying. I talked about 3,100 as the next big target for gold. We've already smashed through that, and it's not even midday on Monday yet. So gold is just really just climbing. Difficult to trade this one, to be honest, unless you're just intraday looking for some smaller pullbacks and just buying the dips really on the lower time frames. That's the only way you're finding decent opportunities. If you're looking for a swing, you need to wait for the market to pull back, of course. Next big target, I would say, would be 3,150, which is up here. And of course, you got 3,200, which is up there as well. But 3,150 is probably the next area I'll look at. There's a nice kind of brief pause here in the market, so maybe we come back to revisit that. Perhaps to find some more buyers for potentially another move higher. Of course, you still got the break and retest opportunity on the prior high here too, which would be a nice place to look for an entry as well. But because there's so much momentum, we might not even get all the way back there with gold. I know we're quite stretched, quite extended. At some point, there'll be a bigger pullback for gold, but there's no kind of sign of that just yet. So I'll just stick to what price is doing until we start to get some red flags that gold might be looking to have that bigger retracement. And then, of course, you got your silver. I'm still currently sitting in silver. I've trailed stops to break even. We've smashed through that high there on the left. Still looking for a price to at least get back to the swing high there before I do start to close some profits and close some positions. I will probably leave a small position to trail for silver just because it has that potential to break to the upside like gold and just fly as well. And that could be a really big position. So I will look to trail some of my positions, but most of my profit I'll look to secure at the high there, because after all, there is a very solid level of resistance. They give us a very big move to the downside. Even though I expect price to break through, price might respect the level, take my trade out and then have the breakout. So I don't want to be too greedy with that position. I can always look to get back in if price gives me the opportunity to do so. But yeah, still into that position, still very bullish on silver. There was actually a nice opportunity right at the start of this week or right at the end of last week for some entries on the retest of this range here. You can see price, strong push, consolidation, another strong push to the upside. That would be a nice place for an entry. You still might come back to revisit that as well. So if we do come back down, keep an eye on that. That might be a nice trade opportunity later in the day, in the week. But yeah, still expecting further upside for silver. And I'm hoping we can pick up the pace a little bit, because gold has been so bullish and silver not as so. So I'm hoping silver can kind of catch up. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD. Still looking at some strength coming into the market. I'm still particularly bearish on dollar, so I'm not so much looking for USD buy opportunities. I'm kind of just waiting for Euro USD and pound to pull back so I can kind of buy those. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD. What's up, Gerald? Good morning. Hope you are doing good. Darkshon, what's up? Good morning, Naz. 3 point, yeah, huge drop on the indices last week. Wasn't expecting that yet. Join the club. I was not expecting that either. Probably will see more downside before buyers step in. Yeah, I'll go take a look at the indices because we had some really like very strong candle closures, and momentum's not looking good. No, we didn't. Well, the UK clocks went forward on the weekend, so it looks like I'm doing it at a different time, but my streams always start in line with the UK time, 10 a.m. I know clocks will go forward and backwards and mess things up a little bit, but yeah, whatever time UK is at, that's the time the streams start. But what's up, Lighton? Hope you're well. GJ bouncing consolidation this morning after confirming the direction. I'm actually short of this one. I was actually looking to get short on pound yen on Friday, but I was actually busy. Because I was trying to get in before the week closed, but I was like, probably not actually, because I'll probably still be charged swap as well. So I entered Sunday night after the spread kind of went back to normal. There was a bit of a gap there, so it was a bit inconvenient, but it didn't really change the trade too much. But I am short pound yen on a daily chart, so my stop loss is pretty big. I'll go through that position in a moment. Tashi, good morning. Hope you're well. Eric, pound CHF sells on the weekly. Okay, I'll take a look at that as well. Ivan, Euro Aussie. Broke the bullish pennant. Maybe ready for new highs. Okay, we'll have a look. See. Okay, so I'll go through a couple indices first, and I'll take a look at GJ and pound CHF and Euro Aussie. So yeah, very bearish for the indices. Very bearish. That was a lot of momentum. Very strong close on Friday as well. I think we closed with no wick there, or maybe a very, very small one. But pretty much closed at the low of the day there. And yeah, very much signaling, making out that momentum is still very bearish. And it's not like we've come into support and left a bit of a wick there. We kept that momentum alive. And of course, today's candle gapped to the downside slightly and is looking a little bit bearish as well. Of course, don't want to judge the current daily candle too much. It's got 11 hours to trade. For all we know, it could pull back, close bullish, and leave a big wick to the downside. But what we can take into consideration is the daily candle close on Friday and the weekly candle close as well. Big piercing wick to the upside for NAS there and close pretty bearish. So in my book, I would expect more downside here for NAS 100. That weekly candle says a lot to me. Price found support a couple of weeks back. Then last week's candle, well, not last week, the week before last, kind of confirmed support there a little bit with that bullish candle. Didn't really insinuate too much momentum coming into the market, but just that we're holding that price. And then last week's candle, big wick to the upside, showing that, okay, we were starting to find support and seeing some upside, but all that momentum just came crashing back down, and we closed very strongly to the downside. So I do think we'll at least see a push to the downside this week. I'm looking at support kind of in around this area here as our next target. We may push into this area, bounce and turn around, but I do think we're likely to keep falling. So 18,500, I would say, looks pretty likely. And yeah, I do think we'll see some more downside. So a pullback of that momentum would be nice. Maybe perhaps a retest of this area here roughly. And then you might see price continue to fall. But yeah, in my book, it's not looking too good for NAS. And then, of course, you got your lovely S&P 500, which, again, similar situation with this one too. Very, very strong bearish candle close down the week. Piercing wick to the upside. Close with minimal wick to the downside, confirming momentum. Kind of like a big shooting star pattern. So, again, I would expect us to keep falling. We've got support down here around 53.60. I think we've got a good chance of getting down there for the S&P as well. And I like S&P because it actually did come into support, rejected that as resistance, also rejected the daily 200 moving average as well, which was a pretty big confluence there for NAS because, as I spoke, I'm not NAS, sorry, S&P. because 200 is a big reference point. A lot of people look at the 200 as a reference to gauge whether the market is bullish or bearish. So when it does break the 200, it does invite a lot of sellers. It might scare away some buys a little bit until we can kind of really get back above it. And then we respected that in line with the level there on, was that Wednesday? And the market hasn't really looked back since. So yeah, I do think for the S&P will likely keep falling as well. There's some nice support here too. I think that would be a nice place for a retest. And likely some more downside there as well. For NAS 100, I was actually expecting that to go a little bit higher before we did sell off. I was actually still looking for price to come back and retest this support level. And if you look quite carefully, we didn't actually hit the 200 there either. We missed it by a very small margin. So I thought NAS might have another push to the upside first before we might see some downside, but it just kind of sold off with S&P. And US 30 as well, looking pretty bearish. This one's not as clean, so I'm not quite as focused on this one, but looking very bearish. And I think if S&P and NAS fall pretty hard, then we'll probably see US 30 fall with it. No, it's well, if you live in the UK, then you would know about it. If you don't live in a country that does daylight saving hours, as they like to call it, then you probably wouldn't know about it, to be honest. But yeah, in the UK, quite a few countries do it. I know the US do it. Some other countries do it. I don't really know too much, but yeah, the UK does like to do that. So yeah, clocks did go forward. Anyway, we'll go through pound yen. So pound yen, I'm actually currently short on this one on the daily chart. So looking at a pretty big swing for this one. If I scale to the daily, so the plan was to go short when that daily candle closed on Friday, but I didn't because number one, I was actually busy, but it actually made sense not to because of the swaps. Quite heavy when you're shorting pound yen. So spending less time holding over the weekend is a bonus. But yeah, really nice rejection there. I like the way the 4 hour and the 8 hours forming. Price formed some really strong resistance. We respected on a couple occasions. We broke to the upside with a lot of momentum, and price came crashing back down. So this is kind of like pointing to me that price potentially kind of faked to the upside to take out the highs here, and now it's ready to turn around. And I'm looking at anticipating that to be the next swing high for pound yen. And if that is the next swing high, then I'm expecting us to return back to support. I'm still very much looking at this kind of structure here. And now my expectation for pound yen is a swing back into support down there at 187. And hopefully, if everything goes well, I might be able to leave some positions to run back into 180 down there, because that's always been my long-term target for pound yen for a while. It's just been taking its time, but hopefully now we've kind of put the high in, stops above the high there. It's a pretty big stop loss, but the plan is that I can hold this for quite some time as well, so I don't mind that too much. Just have to adjust my lot size to the opportunity. But yeah, pound yen, I am short bias right now, looking for a big swing. Looks like maybe yen pairs are turning. Had a look at the JPY basket, seen some solid rejection there as well. We'll take a look at that in a moment too. But I did hop into this position there. There's a bit of a gap to the upside, so I'm thinking we might go and fill that first. Maybe retest some support there on the 4 hour chart as well. As we can see, some lovely support with the gap there. We might do something like this, which might be a nice opportunity to look for refined opportunities. Maybe like the hourly chart, nice break and retest. That might be a nice opportunity there. So keep an eye for that. I'm not too interested about trying to find the perfect entry, as long as I can get an entry more or less where I'm expecting the high to form. If I can get a safe stop loss, that's great. And then I'll look to try and swing the trade to my targets. But yeah, I'm pretty bearish on pound yen, and I do think we can see a big swing for this pair and pretty much all the other yen pairs as well. We will go through pound CHF and your Aussie next. Okay, so pound Swiss. So pound Swiss, last time I checked, was still very, very choppy, and yeah, it is still looking very, very choppy. So I'm not very interested in shorting pound CHF. The way I see it, price is coming into support at the moment because we've got prior resistance on the weekly chart, a lot of wicks here. Since then, price actually broke through, and now this is of course turned into support there. So I wouldn't be looking to swing pound CHF to the downside unless we can kind of break back underneath this, because this might just be a big fake out for us. You know, price formed resistance, has broken through it. Potentially now we might see price break underneath, use that as resistance again, and we could catch a nice swing to the downside, perhaps back into the low of the range, 1.112 more or less. So there might be some nice shorts to take there for pound CHF, but I wouldn't say it is ready yet or to likely sell, because we're still dancing on this level, which could give us another push to the upside there. You know, we kind of broken out this range, now we're forming a range on top of that, if that makes sense. Kind of another range over here. But yeah, pound CHF is very, very choppy pair right now. I'm not seeing a lot of momentum in the market either. If maybe we can see a strong close to the downside, breaking below, you can probably look to take an entry on that. Don't necessarily have to wait for the retest, but at least see some type of momentum coming to the market. There's a lot of wicks, not really see much indication that the market's ready to turn. And like I said, we're trading directly into some strong support on the daily/weekly chart. So I would avoid selling into that. If anything, if we find support here, like I said, we might see a swing to the upside. So yeah, I wouldn't be looking to short pound CHF yet. It's in a place where we could see a lower high form. We've got one over there, second over there, perhaps a third one is forming. So I do like that idea that a lower high is forming and we could see that swing. But I'd wait for some momentum to really step in first before looking to take any type of short. So maybe a strong break to the downside or a retest of that resistance there. That would be a nice entry signal. We're in a nice area where we could sell off, but based on how it's moving, I don't think it is quite ready yet for that. So yeah, I can see what you mean in terms of the wicks and price, you know, really kind of stagnant. So it looks like a lower high is forming. I do agree we're in a nice area for it. And the fact that we're seeing a lack of momentum means that price is probably going to get ready to sell. But at the same time, we're still testing support. So I would wait for price to break through that for either a breakout entry or look for a retest before looking to get involved. You can take shorts and anticipate price to swing over. But you know, if that support doesn't break, then the trade is not going to go in your favor. If it does break, well, then you've already got that sign that momentum is spilling over and we're likely to drop anyway. So that would be a nice entry. So yeah, we're in a nice area for it, but I would wait for some momentum to kick back in. Euro Aussie, you said you've broken out a bullish pennant. I can see what you're on about there, to be honest. We are looking very bullish right now for Euro Aussie. It looks like Aussie weakness is just really in the market right now with NZD as well. But yeah, very, very strong breakout, and yeah, perhaps we are pushing back to the highs and maybe some new highs as well. The market is still pretty bullish. I was expecting us to have a much deeper correction, at least back to some of these areas down here, but looks like the market isn't quite ready yet to see that deeper pullback. And especially with that 4-hour close there this morning actually. So we have left behind some structure on our left here. Perhaps we might come back for a retest as support. That could be a nice intraday opportunity for a long. But yeah, at this rate, I would not be surprised for a push back into resistance here at 1.7395, 1.74 essentially. But yeah, a lot of momentum. I think that's got a lot to do with Aussie being I think Euro is a bit strong, to be honest, but I think Aussie and NZD are just very, very weak right now. And we're just seeing momentum really spill over from that. So, yeah, I would agree. Momentum looks good. We probably will see price push back to the highs. I'm going to go through some of the yen pairs because they're looking very interesting at the moment. And I was actually debating getting to another yen pair, but I was like, let me not get too carried away. I've already got a nice swing on the daily chart for pound yen. Just going to let the market do its thing there. But I was also looking at CHF JPY as well. I think that's a nice short. I was talking a lot about this on the weekly analysis on the weekend. No problem, Ivan. Happy to help. So I went over this one for the bonus pair. And this looked like a nice short as well, kind of the same characteristic as pound yen, which is we formed a lot of resistance here. Price broke to the upside, and then we came bleeding right back down again. And that was itself a really nice kind of entry or nice kind of top pattern that the market's forming for this very corrective move. And if that is the next lower high, then that would be a really nice place for a short. And I would be expecting us to return back into the low at 165.934. We've got one high over there, second, third, and I think we probably put in our fourth. And yeah, I'm expecting CHF JPY to return back into support here. We've had a very healthy pullback already, I think at least to the 0.5, as we can see. And we've just about come back into resistance down the left as well. So it's a nice area. I was initially looking for CHF JPY to come a little bit deeper. There is a trend line over here as well. So I was looking for price to come a little bit deeper, more so into 172 before we sell off. I was having a close look at the JPY basket, and it does look like price is ready to turn there. We had a really strong close on the daily chart on Friday as well. I was looking at this on the higher time frames too. Price was providing a lot of wicks to the downside. Looks like some support on the left here is holding there as well. And it does look like a high low is forming there. And with how corrective price has been too, it does look like this is price just pulling back. Perhaps retesting some resistance on the left there. And now is ready to push up. We might see a bit of a correction, which could provide some nice opportunities on some intraday time frames. So if you're looking at that for the yen pairs, I'll keep an eye. Very strong swing. I think this is a nice place for a long. We are coming back into some areas of supply right now on the left. So I do think we'll see at least a minor reaction there for the yen basket. If we just go and break through, that would be pretty surprising, to be honest. But that would mean there's a lot of momentum, a lot of strength there for the yen if we were to do that straight away. But I do think price will correct itself a little bit, find some support before pushing up. But yeah, expectation would be a swing back to the high at 7K more or less. But the longer term target again is still very much the wick high on the left here, 73.61. Looking at price kind of forming successive high lows now, picking up the pace to go and take out the highs there. So yeah, pretty bullish here for the yen basket. And of course, if the yen basket is strong, that means yen is strong. And of course, that means the yen pairs, I like to see some downside. So CHF JPY looked really good. But I was like, let me just focus on one of them. There might be some re-entries later on. I'll hop in. But I don't want to kind of overexpose myself to yen right now. Still a very volatile market as well. But I think this looks really good. So if you're looking at something intraday, I think if you can keep an eye out for the retest of this area, that might provide some nice shorts. Even the high back here as well. So prior resistance a couple times there, once, twice. Of course, that was your fake out. We might even come back to retest that area before continuing as well. So I'd keep an eye on, what is this, 169.8, 170.8 for some nice refined opportunities to enter a short. And then you got some really nice targets to aim for. You can either aim for the low all the way down there and probably look at a pretty big risk reward, or you can keep it a little bit more simple. Got some nice support there around 168.5 as well, which makes a lot of sense. So that's kind of what I'll be looking at for CHF JPY. Also looking at Aussie yen and New Zealand yen. These are looking very bearish because, of course, Aussie and NZD are very weak itself. So that's already set the tone. And, of course, now that yen has gained a bit of strength, it has caused a lot of momentum. So Aussie yen's looking pretty bearish here. Looks like support held there very nicely. I said it would be nice if we got one more spike to the upside back into this descending channel, which in fairness we did, but I just wanted the price to kind of spike through the high or spike into the support resistance level. We kind of just kissed it there a little bit, and yeah, we're already looking pretty bearish. Of course, beggars can't be choosers, but yeah, Aussie yen is having a very nice rejection from the high there. Still expecting this wick low to go. at 90.186. So the way I see it, there's still a lot more downside to be expected. Of course, you've got some support here on the left to watch out for. But yeah, I do think price is likely going to break through that support level as well. But yeah, Aussie yen looking pretty bearish. I like the rejection on the weekly chart as well. A lot of wicks there to the upside too. You can see 1, 2 wicks there. So I think there's a very high chance that we at least spike to the downside. We might not close bearish on the week, but I would say we at least do spike lower. And again, expecting eventually a push back into that low there. If I go take a look at New Zealand yen, which is pretty much doing the same thing. Again, really nice rejection off that area. We also had that channel in play as well. Looks like the channel's just held resistance pretty well here. And now price is looking like it's about to see its next bearish leg. We didn't quite take out the wick low when we were over here last time, so we still got some unfinished business to complete. And again, on the weekly chart, you can see the wicks there to the upside past couple of weeks, 1, 2 as well. So when you're seeing wicks like that, it's a pretty clear sign to you that from a weekly standpoint at least, price is really finding it difficult trying to break to the upside. When you get 2 very long exaggerated wicks like that, there's a good chance that the following week, aka this week, is probably going to give you at least a bearish move. Again, might not close bearish necessarily, but probably give you a bearish move. And again, it's already Monday and price is really looking very bearish at the moment. So yeah, with New Zealand yen, I think there's a good chance we get back into support here at 83.8 and probably see some new lows there. We've got some key support down here. Maybe price gets to 81 in the next few days, few weeks. But yeah, New Zealand yen to me looking very, very bearish at the moment. If I go over to CAD JPY, so yeah, CAD JPY, same thing as well. Looks like this price support level's held on, and price is looking like it's about to sell off from there as well. We had a nice break of a counter trend line. So if I drag this across, you can see we broke through that counter trend line, and momentum hasn't really looked back since there as well. So again, if you're looking to refine an entry to get involved, you'll probably be looking for some retest like so, or maybe even the retest of the range here would be nice to look for some entries on the lower time frames and capitalize on a swing. I think this would make for a nice target as well. Of course, I would be expecting price to get down there, but again, playing it simple, playing it safe, especially when you can get a decent risk reward into the low anyway. You know, that could be a nice trade in itself. But yeah, CAD Yen to me looking pretty bearish. Very clean break of that trend line. Of course, we've respected the high already. I think we pull back into the 0.5 of the fib. At least. We might have just missed it. Yeah, wait, did I? There we go. Yeah, might have just spiked into more or less into the 50 anyway. And we've seen a very strong shift in momentum. So things to me are looking really bearish. I think CAD Yen is likely going to keep falling. There could be some nice intraday opportunities on some pullbacks. I would keep an eye on that if you're looking from an intraday standpoint. But my targets for CAD Yen would definitely be back at the low here, which is 101.6. What is up, Setsadai? Welcome to the stream. Looking to short Euro Pound. Can you please have a look? Okay, we'll have a look. Looking for entries on the hourly chart. Okay, I'll go have a look at Euro Pound now. Euro Pound, I'm actually looking at a bullish move for this one long term. I'll go for the long term point of view, then I'll take a look at the hourly chart in a second. What's up, FX Wolf? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're good. But as we can see, Euro Pound on the higher time frames has respected support very, very well here. We had an initial test over there, strong rejection once, back there again, strong rejection twice. So I do think we can see a bit more upside as you know, price is showing a big inability to break support here. So if price is struggling so much with support, it's likely going to see a push up to the upside. It already has, but I would expect a little bit more. And there's some strong resistance above us at 0.85, which I think price has got a good chance of coming back to retest. At the moment, I'm kind of looking at this as a big impulse and this is a correction for potentially another impulse to the upside. So that's kind of why I kind of have a bullish bias for euro pound. And there's a level on the left there which looks like price is holding onto support right now. Now euro pound's not the cleanest pair right now. It's not the best in terms of the setup, which is why I'm not looking to trade it, to be honest. I kind of have that bias, that bullish bias, because of my analysis, but in terms of an actual good trading setup, I'm not really seeing one, so I'm not really so eager to trade it. But I do think we're likely to see a push to the upside. I like the rejection that we saw last week. Overall, a very, very corrective move to the downside too. So I do think we're likely to at least see a push, maybe back towards this area here. Maybe there's a nice consolidation there. It was a pretty strong drop. Doesn't look like price come back to retest it yet. So 0.84, I think we can see a nice push into. At the moment, I can see the price is definitely coming back into some resistance right now and starting to struggle there. So I can see a reason to look to get short. On the hourly chart, we've had price try to sell off this morning, but provided a lot of wicks. Now pushing back into resistance. So there could be a nice double top that does present there. But I'll be very, very careful in terms of how long I hold that trade for. There's some support right here. I think that would make for a nice first target. Of course, your second targets might be down here. But I think as you approach support here, probably lock in some gains or trail a stop. Probably even drop lower than the hourly in terms of entries. If price does break to the upside like so, and break structure to the left, then I wouldn't be looking to short euro pound anymore, because at that point we're broken structure, which means more upside is likely. Sure, there might still be a pullback which you can take advantage of, but you'll be expecting that high low to form and price to keep pushing. So I'll keep a close eye on the high on the left, 0.83745. If we clear that, I would avoid selling euro pound completely. I can see price respect and resistance pretty well right now. But yeah, I'll look to find some rejections and at least to push back into support there before looking to, because you could look to target there, but because price has found support there this morning, it's got a good chance of finding support there again if it does revisit. So I would look out for that. But yeah, so that's some nice resistance. I'm personally bullish on euro pound, so I wouldn't be looking to short. But if we are going to see some downside from here, then of course wait for your rejections and then keep an eye on that support level. Okay. Still looking at the yen pairs. Yeah, I'm currently short pound yen. Nick Edgefinder said it's bullish on pound yen, but then the yen pairs are still very bearish. Well, we'll have to wait and see. I'm currently shorting pound yen, so I'm looking at a lot of downside for pound yen as a whole. We'll see if that momentum continues or if it doesn't continue. If I do get red flags, I will exit the trade early. But at the moment, it looks like yen is kind of switched around. I like the price action in pound yen. Saw some really healthy rejections, not yesterday, last week. We had price kind of push the upside here, taking out the highs there. Then we came strongly to the downside, and that kind of gave me my confirmation on the daily chart. Ideally, I would want to have entered the trade a little bit earlier than I did. I've got a pretty big stop loss, but I'm looking at a pretty big swing, still at least a 1 to 2 into that low there. So I'm not quite bothered at that. I'm still looking at pushing to this low as well. So I will be holding positions there too, which is around a 1 to 5. So risk reward isn't as good as it could have been, but it's still decent, so I'm not going to complain. But yeah, solid rejection down on the higher time frames there for pound yen, and we saw that across the board. I was looking at the yen basket as well, and it looks like we're seeing potentially a high-low form there. Of course, I could be wrong, which is why I'm managing risk and why I've got a stop loss above the high. I'm sure that Edgefinder has good reason of saying why pound yen should be bullish, but we'll see if things continue or if things change around. If I see some red flags, and if pound yen does start looking bullish and does start looking like it's about to keep pushing to the upside, of course, I'll probably close out the trade or take the loss with my stop loss. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, to me, yen pairs are looking pretty bearish at the moment as well. We're just going through the yen pairs. I'll take a look at think Euro Yen, I missed out that one, so I'll go for Euro Yen as well. But to me, I think a lot of the yen pairs might be getting ready for a nice swing. Bearish swing, that is. Good morning, Godfrey. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Euro CAD DAX. Okay, we'll have a look for you. First, let me just take a look at Euro Yen, and then I'll go through your pairs, Euro CAD DAX. So, Euro Yen hasn't looked as good as some of the other yen pairs. I think that's because Euro is a little bit strong, so it's going to have to work a little bit harder to see some downside. But in all fairness, it's still at a nice area where I do think a lower high could form. You know, price is more or less trading at this kind of head and shoulder resistance level, if you will. So we've got the left shoulder over there, the head, right shoulder. You know, we spoke about this many times, and that's because the pattern just hasn't played out yet. We're still kind of refining resistance here, but as long as this general area of resistance holds, I do think a lower swing high is going to form, and we're going to swing to the downside. So that's still my expectation for Euro Yen. For me to not have that bias anymore, price needs to break to the upside and take up the high here as well on the daily chart. If we do that, then I'll stand corrected. Maybe at that point we do see a bit of a trend formed, you know, back to the highs there. But I don't see that happening just yet. And at the moment, price is still doing a good job at respecting resistance. On the weekly chart, providing some nice wicks to the upside there too. So I do think price is slowly getting ready to turn and see a push, you know, back into support, which is 155, 156 we'll call it. So Euro Yen to me still looks pretty bearish. Price action hasn't been as good with this one because, like I said, Euros has been just a little bit strong, so it hasn't been as smooth as maybe Pound Yen or maybe Aussie and New Zealand Yen. It's been a bit stagnant, but I feel like because now it's broken out of this kind of counter trend line, we might see price turn around here. We could probably even wait for support here to break and look for some retest beyond that. But yeah, the way I see it, the market's formed a high over there. This was like a lower high. So now I do think a bit of a trend is going to form to the downside. So yeah, even Euro Yen I'm pretty bearish on. I would say this one probably looks not the best or the least. In terms of the setup, I'm not as confident with the setup here as with some of the other yen pairs on the lower time frames. Euro Yen on the higher time frame looks really good, but lower time frame is still a little bit scrappy. And that's just because Euro is being a bit stronger. But if we can break support there, then I think that will be the real green light for Euro Yen to short. And yeah, 156 is where I see price pushing towards. So yeah, the way I see it, things look bearish. Of course, things can change the market in a blink of an eye, and I will be prepared for that as well. But until I see some red flags, I do think we're going to continue to fall. Euro CAD, I'll have a look see. So Euro CAD's still looking very bullish. I've been looking for Euro CAD to come back and retest the high here at 1.52. Doesn't look like we're going to get there just yet. We've seen some upside. We had a minor rejection at this area, but didn't see price give us too much downside there. Had a very strong push, slight downside. Then we broke to the upside here. Altogether, yeah, I would wait for a bit more upside before looking to short now. Got some brief support here. Strong break to the downside. 1.557 would be the area which I would look to sell next from EuroCAD. And again, I'll keep it relatively short and sweet. I know I said I'm expecting a push all the way back to 1.52, but I wouldn't look to try and hold a position all the way down there because number one, price is going against me. We are very bullish here for EuroCAD in the higher time frames. The trend is very much up across the major time frames, so I wouldn't try and hold a short when all of that momentum is going against me. I mean, I would hold a short, but I would take partials beforehand. I'll probably try to stop as well, just so if price does turn against me, I still walk away with some type of profit there. But yeah, really solid support here at 1.558, 557. A bit more upside. I feel like that's a nice place to short from. feel like even this could provide a nice level to target initially. And of course, that would be a nice target to have as well. And then maybe you can leave a few positions to run if you really want to back into 1.52 if you're looking for that big swing. But yeah, EuroCAD has seen quite a lot of downside so far. I do think some more downside is likely to come. And 1.557 looks pretty good to me. In terms of the DAX, so I'm still pretty bearish on the DAX in terms of I'm expecting a bit of a trend to form to the downside. Again, the market's been so bullish, as we can see. So it definitely is due a bit of a pullback. And since we have broken out of this ascending channel here, as we can see, I think we broke out of that on Friday, was it? Yeah, Friday. So we've broken out of the channel, and to me, this is now what I'm looking at as a breakout. And now I'll be looking at price, looking to follow that momentum and have its pullback. We've got some really strong support here on the left, 22,240. If we can continue past that, then that would turn into a really nice place to short from. The way I see it, price overall is very bearish in terms of momentum right now. Of course, it's very bullish. It's not bearish at all. But in terms of the current momentum, it's very bearish. And if that momentum continues, we'll likely see further retracement opportunities and pullbacks on the lower time frames. On the weekly chart, the last kind of pullback was down here around 2250. That might be an area which price might push towards to have that bigger pullback before finding support again. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, if we see a pullback that big. There is some major support here on the left in the daily chart. We've got those wicks, 1, 2. So I think that will be a nice area to target as well. But I do think the DAX can see a pretty big drop because it's just so stretched. If you look at your previous pullbacks on the DAX, they do have some quite nice dips to them. So I do think we can at least get to some of these prices down here. So yeah, DAX, I do think more downside is likely. In terms of opportunities to actually trade it, then I'll be looking at something like this, a break and retest at support there. I think that would be a nice way to do that. Or even if we were to come back and retest the range here, along maybe with the trend line, that might be a nice area. But this is the more significant level, so this is where I would focus my efforts on. And yeah, expecting a push to the downside. Of course, the market is bullish. There's a store counter trend opportunity, but we're taking advantage of a trend that's really stretched, and that is likely to retrace as well. Just like when gold will give us its signals to retrace, I do think gold will provide some nice sells. At the moment, gold is not really showing any signs of that. Of course, there are kind of miniature pullbacks and dips in the market, but overall gold is still very bullish. No major break of structure yet. So yeah, gold is still onwards and upwards, but now the DAX is breaking through the low. Now we might see price kind of actually turn around. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, in terms of my watch list for the week, I'm keeping an eye on the yen pairs. Of course, I'm currently short pound yen, but the idea is that maybe other yen pairs might set up as well. If I can get pound yen to break even, then hopefully I might find some entries for the other yen pairs too and really take advantage of that. Or maybe find some re-entries for pound yen, depends what situates. But now that I'm in pound yen, I've kind of ticked that box of the yen pairs. So until this becomes break even, I'm not concerned about finding more entries. But when I do get break even, then I'll see what I can find. In terms of the USD pairs, of course, I'm trading silver at the moment. It's not really a USD pair, it's a metal, but it is going to be related to USD. So I'm going to see what happens with silver. Stops a break even. I haven't locked in any gains yet, so I'm just going to let the market do its thing. Still have targets around 35, but yeah, I don't want to micromanage too much with this one. And in terms of USD pairs, I still do like dollar CHF to the upside. It did break to the downside out of the consolidation, but it was kind of a weird breakout because it did close pretty bearish on Friday. Then it had a gap to the downside. Then it's kind of recovered that. So it's kind of like what is price really trying to do here? I know my bias, which is I'm looking for support to hold and push the upside. I do think if the DXY is going to find support and push higher, dollar CHF could see that happen as well. But I'm still kind of waiting for price to actually break resistance first, and then I'll find some opportunities on a retest somewhere. Then that will be the trade I look to take and take advantage of. And yeah, looking for at least a push back into that kind of area there. So yeah, the way I see it, dollar CHF is still in a really nice area. If I go to the weekly chart and look to the left, you can see where we're trading massive support running through the market, which looks like we're kind of respecting right now. So I do think we can turn around there and see some retracement. But at the moment, the market is not ready to be bought yet. It's still very sideways. You can probably just look at this as a big range, to be honest, and just let the market break out. And it will give us an opportunity. So dollar CHF, I do like. Euro USD and GBP USD are two USD pairs on the watch list as well. So of course, Euro USD, I really like the longs over here and over there. Just waiting for price to get there. And pound USD as well. I like the longs at 1.27 and 1.28, sorry, and 1.27. Just waiting for price to get there, find the high lows, and then buy them. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Just waiting for some pullbacks on some of the USD pairs, opportunities to present there. Yen pairs I'm trading. Crosses, CAD pairs. I do like some pullbacks on some of the CAD pairs, which I'll get through in a moment. And then CHF pair. My mic. I think I should mute myself there. Let me check if the mic is working. Hello, hello. Okay, is the mic working? Okay, someone let me know if the mic is working or if it sounds weird, because I feel like the audio has switched to my computer mic and not the mic in front of me. Let's see. Okay. Okay, I'll continue with that, and yeah, because someone let me know if the mic is working. Anyway, we'll go through some of the CAD pairs, but Eric, dollar yen sell. I love the way the weekly close on the dollar yen, waiting for the lower high since the. Yeah. I'm liking dollar yen sell as well. Pretty much all the yen pairs look good to me. So, okay, thank you, Darkshon. Thank you for letting me know. So yeah, dollar yen looks good to me as well on the higher time frames. A lot of wicks on the weekly chart as well. And the only thing I don't like about dollar yen is that we didn't pull back that far. I wanted the price to pull back a lot further, to be honest, before shorting. I didn't look at dollar yen, did I? I completely forgot to look at dollar yen. So yeah, the weekly chart looks good. Daily chart looks good. We've come back into a nice area, which is basically this kind of big wick on the left there. It looks like prices pull back into that and spiked into that and now potentially could roll over. Yeah, I just wanted the price to have a bigger pullback. Really, we've had this enormous bearish leg to the downside from that swing high to the low, and yeah, I was looking for price to get close to the 0.5. Doesn't have to, but yeah, pullback this big is just not really something I look for. Typically, of course, doesn't mean the market can't sell off. There will be times where the market has a very shallow pullback and we see big moves. That's when there's a lot of momentum in the market. But typically, I look for bigger ones. So that's why dollar yen hasn't really been of that interest to me. But like I said, it has respected that level on the left here. You know, if I kind of map out that wick from the high to the body, drag that across, you can see respect to resistance pretty well. And now it looks to me that price is pushed into that level and respected again. And then we did break through the counter trend line pretty well at the start of this week here. So to me, dollar yen looks like a nice short as well. Either taking it on the breakout of the counter trend line, or either getting in earlier, or even waiting for some retests. Possibly a retest of the low there could look good, maybe this afternoon or tomorrow morning. So yeah, the way I see it, dollar yen has a good chance of at least coming back to the low here, which is 146. Again, I'm still expecting a massive move for dollar yen back to 140. But of course, we'll speak a bit more of that when we get closer. Still got to take out these lows first. But yeah, dollar yen to me looks pretty bearish. I like the close on the daily chart on Friday. Of course, today's open up pretty bearish, but I would take that with a pinch of salt because you've still got 10, 11 hours before that candle does close, and a lot can happen in that time. But the way I see it, if you can find some entries on a retest of a low somewhere, that should, of course, if we see some healthy rejection, that should be a nice place to find some opportunities to get into dollar yen and take advantage of that move. But yeah, dollar yen, I do agree, looking pretty short, pretty bearish. Waiting for a lower high, since this seems like the first bearish wave in the full hour. Okay, so you're waiting for price to pull back and form a lower high. So yeah, I think that's a smart move as well, especially if you want to refine that entry and maximize your risk rewards. Waiting for some type of pullback, a low high to form, would be the smart thing to do. I would probably keep an eye on the high there. Probably even a retest of this consolidation there too might be something to look at if you pull back a little bit deeper. But yeah, this low here would definitely be my first interest, 149.600. See if you can retest that, and then of course you got your swing low down there at 146.689. So dollar yen, I do agree, looking pretty good. Of course, I'm more kind of looking to trade the yen there than the dollar. The way I see it, dollar yen's coming back to retest and prior resistance. Not dollar yen, sorry. The DXY has come back to retest and prior resistance, which now has turned support. Which, if we do hold this, it could actually give dollar a nice push to the upside. Which at the moment looks like dollar is finding support there quite well. We'll see how this current 4-hour candle does close. It looks like we've picked up a lot of bullish momentum since we last looked at the dollar. I think when we last looked, the price was still trading at around here, but we've pushed on pretty well. Yeah, nice strong close on the hourly chart. So does that mean Euro USD is rejecting its same level? Yep, it looks like that's happening as well. You can see Euro is doing something similar too, broken through some support. Looks like we're coming back to test it as a resistance. And yeah, to me, if that rejects, we're probably going to short, probably going to sell and come back, at least test the low. I'd imagine pound USD is rejecting. Yeah, it looks like pound USD is having some fun as well. Yeah, pound put all those rejections at that level. Looks like it's about to retrace. So yeah, I do think USD strength is kind of coming into the market a little bit. I'm not looking for USD strength long term. It's more so I'm looking for price to bounce, perhaps give us some type of corrective retracement that could last a week or two potentially before we do continue. So that's really what I'm looking for. Lighten, is there possible reversal in dollar CAD on the hourly time frame? Okay, let me have a look. By reversal, do you mean a bearish one or a bullish one? Let me get rid of these lines. So do you mean price is reversing this bullish momentum or reversing this kind of bearish trend we've had for a while? I would assume you're talking about the bearish trend. And price is reversing to the upside here. So okay, so yeah, if you're referring to that, then yeah, I could say so. I mean, really, in terms of reversals, I always look for break of structure as the biggest indication for a reversal. Haven't really had that because our last major swing high was up here. Of course, we've taken out some of these minor structural highs, but they don't really dictate the trend. You know, these swings do. So we haven't really had that yet, but based on where we're trading and how we've rejected that support level, I do think we are going to see a reversal, and based on the momentum as well. So as you can see, really solid support a few times on the daily chart. We've tried to break through, the market's respected it, and looks like price is just going to find support and push up. And of course, with the hourly chart showing all that momentum, it has now left behind some nice areas for some longs. If we were to come back and revisit, there's a good chance probably a higher low does form here. Now printing successive higher lows. So yeah, I do think dollar CAD looks pretty good for a long. We haven't broken through key structure yet, so I wouldn't say it's a reversal just yet, but again, from experience and kind of anticipation, I can say that probably we are going to reverse and probably push back into resistance. So yeah, I would favor it as well. Dollar yen is pulling back on the M15, waiting for price entry 0.5, 0.6 fib to enter. Okay. Assume that's for a short, Arusha. We can take a look at that. Well, now it's pushing up. I mean, the one when it comes back to continue the buys. Oh, okay. So you're looking for a pullback so price can keep pushing up. Yeah, I mean, possibly. I mean, at the moment, there's no signal that the market's about to pull back. The market is quite stretched, so I would expect it to pull back, but whether it will pull back all that way, or will be a slight pullback, or one bearish candle and keep pushing, you know, that's anybody's guess right now. But at the moment, the market's still very bullish. There's kind of no sign yet for a pullback. So I wouldn't be trying to anticipate a pullback just yet. If we could see some wicks, some bearish engulfing candles coming into play, then yeah, that would be a sign that the market might see some downside. But until that, you know, we could keep pushing another 50 pips if price wanted to. So yeah, I wouldn't try and predict that just yet. There's no kind of sign of it happening. If it does pull back, great. Then yeah, you do have some nice buys to look at and follow. But I'm not seeing signs of a pullback just yet. Okay, let's have a look at USD JPY on the 15. So 0.618. Are you looking at the fib from the high here? So from 151 to the low, or whereabouts are you drawing your fib from? Looking for a short after the pullback of the fib level. Okay, so I'd imagine you're drawing your fib similar to how I'm drawing it there. Yeah, I mean, pullbacks into those areas would be nice. Healthy correction then the 15. That would be a nice place for a short. I'm a fan of this level here. It doesn't quite line up with the 0.5, so it would be a little bit premature according to the fib. But I do think if you can see some solid rejection there at 149.6, it could be a nice area and could give us another swing lower. Also the low here as well. If I kind of just move this out the way. I like the low here as well. I think that's a little bit closer to the 0.5 of the fib. Yep, it's pretty much in between the 0.5 and 0.618, so you probably tick both boxes there. But yeah, dollar yen, I think shorts look good, really nice commanding swing, breaking through structure. So either looking for the retest of that low for continuation or a pullback into that zone there at 150.2. But yeah, I do agree. I think shorts look pretty good. I mean, at the moment, looks like we've done a nice double bottom there. So I wouldn't expect us to keep selling off the dollar yen after that support is formed. You might see another push down, but I think we'll do well to break through. It probably will turn around. So yeah, dollar yen shorts do look pretty good as well in the lower time frames. I think momentum is the key thing here. Momentum's come back into the market, so you're basically looking just to continue the momentum. 28th of March. Let me have a look. Okay, so this swing high or this swing high, because they're both 28th of March. In fact, they're all 28th of March. So yeah, I'm just gonna imagine this is from up there. But yeah, I mean that's the way I would draw the fib. I wouldn't draw it from the swing here because I would be looking at these minor pullbacks. So I would draw the fib from the high, possibly this high. That can make sense too, but I would preferably draw it from there. But I can see drawing from there as well. But yeah, I do agree with that outlook there for dollar yen as well. I think there's a likely big move to be had. In terms of the CAD pairs, so I'm still pretty bearish on New Zealand CAD and Aussie CAD. Euro CAD I just spoke about. I'm looking for some more retracement for that one. And I still think there is a chance we could see a push into 1.52, which is that big daily zone there. Pound CAD, same idea as well, which is I'm still looking for a push back into the major resistance down here. Again, we broke through with a lot of momentum. I haven't come back to revisit as support. I do think there's a strong chance we'll do that soon. As I scale to the lower time frames, looking to see if we can hold resistance here. I think this is a really nice place for a short. Again, connecting the swing highs. If price can hold that, I would expect us to swing back into support. Then potentially go and hit our targets, which is that 1.82 level down there. But of course, this would make up for a very healthy support level. I like the way price had that bullish move because now that's probably trapped some traders on the wrong side of the market, or potentially the wrong side of the market, could be the right side. But I like the way we spiked to the upside because that now will be a healthy place for a stop loss, and I like the rejection as well. It would be better if the candle was a little bit bigger, but it's a decent rejection. So I would say at least a push back into the lows here at 1.848. That could be a nice initial target, and then potentially the low here as well as a secondary target or a final target. But yeah, pound CAD, I do think retracements are likely. Now, pound CAD and euro CAD are not necessarily the CAD pairs I'm looking to trade. I do like Aussie CAD and New Zealand CAD a lot more. I'm very bearish on these currency pairs. I do think there's a lot more downside to be had. I like the weekly chart here for New Zealand CAD quite a lot. We've had a big swing to the downside. Prices broke through some structure on our left. To me, it looks like price has now printed that next lower high in comparison to the high over there. So there's your high, there's your low, there's your break of structure. Now the market's putting in a new lower high, and now I'm looking for us to revisit support again. The way I'm looking to trade this is if we can get a retest of this high here. So if price can pull back, that's something I'll be looking to trade. And a swing back into support. But again, probably looking to lock in some gains before that. Strong swing low here. That would be a nice place to close some profit at. So, yeah, very bearish here for dollar yen. Where did dollar yen come from? New Zealand CAD. Okay, just had a look at dollar yen, didn't I? But no, I meant New Zealand CAD. But I am pretty bearish on dollar yen too. Good morning, Yusuf. Welcome to the stream. Uh, I did have a good weekend. Hope you had a weekend. Hope you had a good weekend as well. No, the stream time hasn't changed. It's just the UK clocks did change this weekend. The clocks went forward in the UK, so it does look like the time of the stream has changed. But the time for the stream is always aligned with the UK time, so it starts 10 a.m. UK time to 12 p.m. UK time. Clocks will go backwards and forwards throughout the year, so it does kind of confuse things, especially if you're in a country where that doesn't happen. But yeah, the timings of the streams always line up with the UK time. So technically, yes, times have changed, but it's still 10 a.m. With the UK time. I think the States, they did it like 3 weeks earlier. So we've caught up. So yeah, New Zealand CAD looking very bearish, expecting a swing back down again, and then a Aussie CAD. So Aussie CAD as well, I'm looking for a swing for this one too. I do think price can eventually push all the way back to support here. The way I'm seeing it is that we are still very consistent with all these lower highs. I'm looking at another one forming. I've looked at this resistance level quite a lot, and to me, it looks like price is just respecting that level. So I am looking at a swing at least back into this area. Of course, longer term targets back into that level. I would still expect price to get there. So if I do get a short, I'll leave positions to run. It's just a bit messy here for Aussie CAD. I'm kind of looking to see if we can pull back into the 0.90600 area. So something like this. I mean, at the moment, price is looking very bearish right now. I wonder if we're just going to break out the consolidation and just keep falling. Which I wouldn't mind as long as we can eventually pull back for some shorts there. And yeah, looking for that swing to the downside. So yeah, Aussie CAD pretty bearish on, New Zealand CAD pretty bearish on. I'm keeping eyes on pullbacks on both of them. Again, the plan isn't to trade both of them, but just see which one I can take and which one sets up the best. The way I see it, I think CAD's still got some strengthening to do. It's been very weak for a while. It has gained a little bit of strength, but I feel like we can gain a lot more. NZD and Aussie are very weak already, and I would expect them to keep falling. And yeah, Aussie and New Zealand have been weak for quite a while now. And if you look at them pretty much against every other pair, Aussie CHF, weak, still holding positions, running with that one. Aussie dollar, weak. Aussie CAD, we just saw, weak. Aussie yen, weak. So Aussie is very, very weak right now. So looking to buy this is always going to be very, very difficult. Again, currency won't stay weak forever, and it won't be, even if it is going to be weak forever, it will have periods of bullishness, it will have periods of pullback. So you will provide opportunities for buys there, but again, you have to be very careful, because the expectation is that it's still weak. So even though it might look bullish for a few hours or maybe even a couple of days, be prepared for the weakness to kick back in again if the trend is going to continue. But yeah, Aussie very weak, and of course NZD is doing something similar as well. Okay, good to hear. Okay, confused 20 minutes ago. Yeah, it is. It's a bit of a weird one. To be honest, I'm not too sure the reason behind it, but yeah, the clocks do go back and forward. It goes back in October and it goes forward in March. I don't know, it might even change a little bit, to be honest, but yeah, the clocks are going forward. So yeah, like I said, the stream times always stay in line with the UK time. So just keep an eye on the UK clocks, and that will give you the time for the streams. But yeah, the clocks don't change for a while now, so Don't have to worry about that. Gerald, Aussie yen. So yeah, Aussie yen looking pretty weak as well. Another AUD currency pair. And I would expect this to get to support. Again, it's kind of two situations here. I'm looking at yen strength, but I'm also looking at Aussie weakness as well. The way I see it, we've got a nice partnership between these two currency pairs because one is weak and the other one I'm expecting to be very strong. It's not quite that strong yet. I'm expecting it to be very strong. The way I see it, price has been trading within the channel very well. It's come up to respect the high of the channel. I was looking for a slightly deeper retest of that area last week. Unfortunately, didn't quite see that happen. But we did see a very strong rejection on Friday. Very strong rejection on Friday. Nice bearish engulfing, and it looks like today's candles kind of see momentum continue off that. And yeah, I would expect us to return back into support. I'm still expecting new lows past this point here, which is the wick from last year, July, August, roughly August. Big swing to the downside. I do think the lows there are likely to be taken out. And the way I see it, the trend here is just going to continue. So yeah, I'd expect more downside for Aussie yen. In terms of opportunities to get into a trade, that's where it becomes a little bit difficult because preferably speaking, you kind of already want to be in the trade. Yeah, now that we're approaching support, not the best time. So perhaps we see another swing to the upside, something like this, come back into support. That might be a nice little trade that could form. That could form there for Aussie yen, so keep an eye on that. But that's the only way I would see an opportunity to actually take a trade here. Otherwise, it might be a ship that's already sailed. Crazy thing happened. I was laid back during the weekend. I lost track of time. Woke up today totally thinking it was Sunday. Damn, that is unfortunate, man. That is unfortunate, especially when you confuse a Monday for a Sunday. You know, it's not too bad if you confuse like a Tuesday for a Wednesday, or a Thursday for a Wednesday, or a Wednesday for a Tuesday, because it's still a weekday. But confusing a weekday for a weekend could be not great, because you might miss some stuff. But hope you're doing good. No problem, Gerald. Happy to help. What's up, Lauder? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. What's the potential effect on tariff on the USD? Yeah, I'm not following that, to be honest, Lighton. I'm just focused on how the market reacts to it. In terms of USD, at the moment it's at support. I'm expecting a strong dollar. But in terms of the tariff, I'm just going to see how that prices into the market and then use that to my advantage. I'm not really so interested about trying to predict things, because if you predict it, well done. If you predict it incorrectly, you know, there's nothing, there's no issue there. It just depends how you trade the opportunity. You know, that's where the money is made or lost. So I'm purely focused on the technicals and waiting for price to react to the fundamentals. And then how price reacts to the fundamentals is then how I react to the market. So I'll wait and see. But again, if you go on to what's the website called again? I forget the website name. There's a good website for fundamental analysis. Forget the name of it, because it gives you reports and expectations for currencies based on current situations. It's not the economic calendar. The economic calendar just gives you the events and the news. But there's a good website that gives you reports. I forget the name. If I remember, I'll let you know. I'll remember it for tomorrow. But yeah, there's a good website for that. I'll find that for you later. But yeah, like I said, I just focus purely on price. and let that be my governing my governing premise for what I'm looking to do in the market. And for now, I'm still looking at dollar bullishness. Yeah, of course, that would be helpful as well. That would be helpful as well. But yeah, I just use high time frames to give me a long term bias. To be honest, scaling to the daily and weekly can help with setting a bias for the market as well long term. Dark Sean, do you think Nas will test the 18,400 level and bounce back? I'm looking in the daily time frame. Okay, let's have a look. Um, 18,500? No, 18,400. Yeah, I mean that's where I've got my level mapped out. To be honest, yeah, I think prices are likely to head there for Nas with that momentum, especially in the weekly candle as well. Very strong weekly candle last week, big piercing wick to the upside, closed very bearish there, telling us that a lot of momentum is with the bears. So, and this is a pretty big level of support here on the daily and the weekly time frame. So I think there's a good chance that price does gravitate towards this level. Then potentially we might have a bit of a bounce there. The way I see it is that the market is having its corrective phase. So the last time we had a big corrective phase was back over here in 2021/2022. That was the last major high. We created a new high. There's a possibility we might even come back to retest the prior high, which is 16,800. But I would expect at least a push into this area and at least a bounce as well. Again, whether that bounce will be a push back to the all-time highs or just a correction for us to keep falling over, that's going to be difficult to say. But I think at least the bounce, you got a good chance of seeing that happen. You know, we'll probably see a lot of buyers entering the market at that level. Depending how we get there, depending how we react, I think naturally that would be a nice place for a bounce. But yeah, I expect price to at least get there. We'll see if it looks good for a bounce when it gets there. But I do think 18,400 is likely to see price, go and visit and test that level. I wouldn't be surprised if we come back and retest the high there, to be honest. But the way I see it, the market is now confirmed to us a bearish swing high. So yeah, I do think we're likely to keep falling. And 18,400 would be the next big level for me. So I do agree with that, Dark Sean. Oh yes, I forgot about NFP this Friday. That's a good point, Lauder. Maybe NFP will give that to us. Yeah, with the indices turning over like this and stocks looking very bearish, we might be seeing a bit of a bear market as a whole, and people kind of being in a bit of a panic mode right now. So we might be seeing indices bearish, might be seeing crypto bearish, might be seeing a strong dollar as well. Typically during these times, USD does become strong. So who knows, maybe we see a lot of USD major currency pairs bearish as well. Might see gold just keep being bullish, which it is already. So bullish gold, hopefully bullish silver as well, but more so gold. And maybe bearish yen pairs as well, as yen is sometimes a bit of a safe haven for currencies. So might be seeing a strong yen as well, and that could help out the yen pairs to the downside. So there might be a bit of a sentiment shifting, because of course, since basically the low down here, which is 2022 October, since October 2022, the market has been in a great uptrend, respecting the 200 moving average. Of course, there have been some minor pullbacks, but overall, the overall trend has been very bullish. Is that trend over now? I mean, not over, just as in, are we going to see a bit of a bearish trend form for a bit? I feel like we are. Again, the expectation is still a higher low somewhere and a push back to highs. but we might be seeing a bit of temporary weakness here for the stock markets, which again could be very interesting for other related markets as well. But yeah, the way they've closed on the weekly chart, especially the S&P as well, I find it very difficult for us to suddenly turn around. The S&P came back, retested that support, spiked into it, then had a really aggressive rejection, and closed very bearish with minimal wick to the downside, if any, really. So I do think for the S&P, we'd like to keep falling as well. We've got some nice support here around 5,300. I do think we'll probably be drawn towards that area there too. So yeah, S&P, NAS, particularly bearish on both of them. Let me see how the FTSE is doing. Yep, that's looking pretty bearish too. Didn't quite come back to test the high again, but nice clean move to the downside. We did break structure on the left here, formed a lower low. So the plan was looking for a lower high than a short. It looks like that resistance played out pretty well. Then of course we already had a look at the DAX as well, which is already breaking out of its channel. Wow, DAX is doing its job very well. So yeah, indices just not looking good at all. Not looking good at all. And how's BTC doing? Haven't actually looked at Bitcoin this morning. Not much has happened with Bitcoin, and we were looking pretty bearish at the end of last week. I think this was Friday's candle, was it? No, it's Saturday. No, yeah, Friday's candle did give us a pretty clean move to the downside. We've got this long-standing bearish trend line. Price is still respecting pretty well, and I'm still looking at a push back into 72, 73k, and we're not too far away from that. So the way I see it, price is likely to keep falling, and yeah, I find it difficult to see Bitcoin reverse bullish suddenly. Of course, that's the thing with Bitcoin. It could do, if enough buyers just enter the market for whatever reason, it could absolutely skyrocket. But judging on momentum, the fact that the bullish move here was so corrective doesn't give me a lot of confidence that suddenly price is going to push. I feel like if we are going to do that, we probably would push down first before maybe price shoots off. And we do have some really nice support below us, so that's another reason why we could probably sell off a little bit. But yeah, Bitcoin, I think 73, 70, low 70s is looking pretty likely. Trading at 81 now, so probably we'll see another at least 10% drop there for Bitcoin's price, I reckon. And then we might see some nice buys come into the market. So I would look out for that. That might be a nice swing opportunity. But yeah, Bitcoin looking pretty bearish, and Ethereum, yeah, that's already falling anyway. It's difficult to see how Ethereum turns around. It might have to push all the way down to 1k flat before we might see that happen. We lost a lot of confidence here for Ethereum, and it might just keep falling. But yeah, really bearish on indices, crypto as well. Yes, gold is just absolutely flying. So again, it's difficult to trade gold right now unless you're going to be looking at very intraday pullbacks and buying opportunities, because there's a clear uptrend right now and there's just a lot of momentum in the market. So if you're looking for like a swing trade, you're going to have to be patient and wait for the market to have that bigger retracement. We had a slight retracement here. It was not bad. I was looking for us to come a little bit deeper. Didn't see that happen there. I've now mapped out the high here. It would be nice to see a retest of this zone. I have to wait and see. There's also a brief pause over here as well, around 30.83. I think that's a nice place for a buy as well. But if I scale right down, you can kind of see the smaller pullbacks prices been having as it just rockets to the upside. I've mapped out a couple of areas of our next big psychological levels because we've already smashed through 3100. I said in my weekly analysis that 3100 would be our next big target now. We kind of smashed that before I woke up this morning. So yeah, gold's been on one, but the next big target 3150, and we've got 3200 up there. So those are the next two big areas I'm looking for price to get to. But yeah, couple zones are mapped out there. Let's see if gold can retrace. It might just keep flying, but you're just gonna have to be patient if you can look to trade it. Okay, so we'll go through check Discord for BTC. Okay. But is that the is that the buyers and sellers for Bitcoin? Let me see if I can share it, because it's not a tab. Oh, my screen's gone blank. Okay. Yeah, so is that the amount of buyers and sellers? Is that for a day? Is that a daily candle, or what's the time period for that? I know you look a lot at volume as well. By the way, if you're not in the Discord, make sure you check it out. You can join. It's completely free. Links are in the description. Completely free to join. You can chat with other traders, chat with myself, share ideas there if you want to. What's up, Ben? Good morning. Hope you're well. Gold move is crazy. Just straight up, even the indices pull back more than this when they're pumping. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, gold is just absolutely flying. It's funny because gold's flying, but silver's not really flying. I'm like, what's going on, silver? Because I woke up and I saw gold flying, and I was like, okay, hopefully silver's flying too. And then just, I mean, it had a nice bullish candle there, but it's not even breaking the highs there, so that's a bit annoying. But yeah, gold's just soaring right now. Yeah, not much to do here with gold. If you want to buy with gold, congrats. I'll just be looking to try and trail stops as much as possible. Of course, maybe secure some profits along the way, but with gold in this environment, basically since Jan last year, it's just been on a crazy one. And you don't even know if we're halfway through this bull run. You know, price broke out. It broke out over here, and we've seen a price push from 2050 to 3050. You know, who's to say we can't go and hit 4050 in a similar fashion as well? So yeah, it's just absolutely bullish. Okay, daily time frame. Okay. Yeah, to me, Bitcoin's not looking too good. I feel like it's going to have a move to the downside as well. I feel like Bitcoin is going to fall as well. But yeah, it does look like we're in that kind of climate where crypto is going to be weak, maybe a little bit. Indices are going to be weak. Maybe gold's just going to keep pushing. Gold's going to keep being strong. Maybe USD might be a bit stronger. Maybe yen might be a bit strong as well. I think we're coming into that kind of climate there. It's not looking too good, but it does mean opportunities and hopefully momentum as well. But yeah, for myself, I'm just currently short pound yen, long gold, no, silver, sorry, not gold. And yeah, still holding on to shorts for Aussie CHF, and been in this trade for at least 2 months, I think. Yeah, when's that? 11th of Feb? Not quite. It needs to be 11th of April. But coming up to 2 months. But again, just letting the market do its thing, letting the trend do its thing as well. Hopefully, we can swing back into the prior low and go and hit those all-time lows as well. That would be nice. What's the dollar bias? Yeah, DXY, I'm actually short-term bullish, still kind of long-term bearish. I'm looking at price kind of correct to the upside and then potentially sell. These are my two levels which I'm looking to get involved at to short the dollar and hopefully buy like Euro USD or something, or Pound USD. Excuse me. But those are the two areas I'm looking for price to get towards. At the moment, right now with dollar, it looks like price has formed some nice support in the past couple of weeks. We've broken to the upside. Now it looks like we're kind of using that prior resistance as support. So I do have a bullish bias here for the dollar. As long as we can hold 103.9. As long as price can hold that area. So far we're seeing a nice rejection on the 4-hour chart. Still got 2 hours before it does close. So a lot can change in that time. But if we can hold that, I do think we're likely to peel to the upside. Excuse me, I've got hiccups now. Push back into the high. And then a push back into 105.6. And then hopefully might start to sell because this is still a lovely move. A lot of momentum in that bearish move. Breaking through some really strong levels of support. And I like it because we came back from some fresh highs over here, which means we kind of like manipulated the highs there before selling off. So I do think we're likely to push back into these areas in due time. But I don't think the market's quite ready to be shorted yet for the dollar. So that's why I'm expecting a bit more upside before we do sell. And again, I'm not really looking to take advantage of the buys in the dollar either. I'm just kind of expecting the retracement to come through. The way I'm looking to play like Euro USD is, again, looking for some downside. Euro USD is doing kind of the same thing as the dollar, which is support there, time resistance, respecting it pretty well. I've got some lovely levels down here, which look good for some longs. Crazy move to the upside. Now, again, it would be brilliant if the dollar can retrace, and then I'll look at something like that or something like this, and that will be the buys. And the swing trades I'm after there for euro and pound. Similar situation as well. Again, looking at 1.28 or 1.27 for a buy. So yeah, for now, I am a little bit bullish on the dollar, but I am bearish longer term. Do you think gold is going for a pullback? It would be pretty. Eventually, yeah, gold will go for a pullback. It doesn't move in straight lines, gold, even though it looks like it's doing that, to be honest. It will go for a pullback. How much of a pullback is always the question. And knowing the answer will provide you with great opportunities. But yeah, it's always the question, how much of a pullback? Because it does pull back. You just look at price here, had a push there, pullback, push, miniature pullbacks there with those bearish candles. Push there, very slight pullback. Push there, very slight pullback. Push there, much bigger pullback. Now we had a push, very slight pullbacks. Might see a few more of them before we might have a bigger one. But we have left some nice areas here where we did see a lot of momentum come through. So that looks like a nice place to buy from. And also the prior high looks like a great place to buy from. So those are the two levels I would be comfortable buying from. I'd probably say this level here, I'll probably drop to maybe the hourly or 30-minute chart to enter. Yeah, I could probably enter on the 4-hour chart, to be honest, if we swing back to the high there. But those are some nice levels to look at. So I do expect gold to retrace. I wouldn't be trying to look to sell it, though. Sometimes retracements could be great to take advantage of. I think gold in this climate is always very difficult to sell. So I wouldn't try and do that. I would just wait for price to come to me, find some entries, and just keep buying as long as momentum looks good. Of course, when we start to get some red flags, break of structures, heavy rejection, then we'll back away from gold because we might be seeing a much bigger retracement, but at the moment we haven't really got any of that. James, hope you're well. What's up? Okay, we'll take a look at the DAX for you, no problem. Eurostars looking pretty bullish. If we can get back above resistance, you have marked out. Yeah, of course, especially dollar as well. If the DXY gets below the support I've marked out as well, then I think there's a pretty high chance that the dollar would just see a move back into support there at 103.223. And of course, if Euro USD breaks above that resistance as well, then you're looking at Euro just basically coming back into the highs here, to be honest, because this could be the low already formed. Of course, I'm looking for a deeper correction, but you know, I don't have a crystal ball here, so that might be the higher low, and maybe price is already, ready to rip. So if you can get back above that resistance, as you mentioned there, then yeah, you probably would see a pretty bullish euro and a push back to 1.09, 400, 500. Back to the high would be the likely move. So yeah, gets above that, then I would expect to push back to highs as well. In terms of the DAX, let's have a look, see. Yeah, DAX is looking very bearish here. Very, very bearish. It's cleared the channel very well. Momentum's picking up. This 4-hour candle is about to close in 38 minutes. So if you can close similar to that, that's a big, big sign to me that says, okay, we've had our fun with this bullish structure. We've completely broken structure now. So the plan would be lower highs and lower lows. If I go to the daily chart, there are some areas I'm expecting the DAX to come and revisit. First off, you got this area here, not too far away. You got some key areas of support down here. And then, of course, you got some prior highs here as well. So those are areas which I think we can come and retest. And they're not too unreasonable either, because we've been very much parabolic since this swing low here. So even a retracement all the way here is not actually such a big retracement. If we look at it in percentage, yeah, it's only at 12%, which is still a decent retracement, but it's not like 30. So I think we can probably even hit some of these areas here, to be honest, with the DAX. But yeah, momentum's looking very bearish. This channel's broken out, so that's now giving me the confirmation of retracement. I said as long as price stays in that channel, I wouldn't be looking to short, just because the market's still so bullish. But now we've got the clear breakout. I think if you find some pullbacks on the lower time frames, that's the best way to trade it. You've got some support here on the left, which could look good for a retest. But 21,900, 21,400, and then 2,500 will be the targets I'm expecting price to get for the DAX. So yeah, extremely bearish right now. Actually, I shouldn't say extremely bearish. The market is still overly pretty bullish, but I do think we're in retracement mode, especially looking at the US indices, setting the tone as well. I feel like we're going to keep pushing. All indices taking a hammering this morning. Yep, FTSE as well. Yeah, had a look at FTSE as well. That's not looking too hot either. We broke through some structure a while ago. Nice pullback. Looks like a lower high formed, and the price is just shot to the downside. So one more. Again, I don't really see how. I mean, actually, I was going to say I don't really see how we might get an entry, but I do see it actually. A nice retest of this level would be good for an entry for FTSE. A lot of momentum here as well, already kind of confirmed with the prior 4-hour candle close. This candle has still got 3 hours left, so I'm not really too concerned about this candle here, the open one. This candle here has already confirmed the breakout, so yeah, retest, and then you got a pretty clean trade, I would say, back into support here, around, what is that, 84.70. Pretty good chance price gets there, because you had higher highs, high over there, broke structure, lower high, confirmed resistance, couldn't break above it on a few attempts, consolidated for a little bit, now we've committed to the downside. So I don't see price suddenly pushing to the upside like that. Of course, anything can happen, but it's going to take a lot of momentum for us to do something like that. In terms of probability, we're likely just going to roll over back into support here, which lines up for a pretty big high on the left here. You can see it better if I go to the daily chart. Pretty big swing high on the daily. We're likely to come back and revisit that level of support. Can I get it? Can I get it? There we go. We're probably going to get another retest of that support level again there. So, yeah, I would say keep an eye on the retest of 8,600. And I would say that would be the best place for a short. Psychology questions. How do you manage big wins? Sometimes they can be just as detrimental to your account as big losses. That's a good question. Again, I feel like you need to go through the experience of taking a big win and then letting it get to your head and doing something stupid to realize you shouldn't do something stupid. Sometimes, people tell you don't stick your hand into the fire because you're going to get burnt. Sometimes you actually have to stick your hand into the fire, get burnt to not do it. Because, I've been saying for ages, manage your risk, don't go heavily, but people will still do that. And then you get burnt and that will teach you the lesson. I feel like it's the same with big winners, although big winners isn't such a bad thing because, of course, you took a big win. The bad thing only happens what comes after it. Maybe you increase your risk and that's the damage that happens. I've been through that as well, where I've taken some big wins and then I'll increase my lot size and then I'll take a couple losses, lose some confidence, and then you're taking bigger losses than you plan to. And that taught me a lot of lessons too. That situation there taught me to make sure that I'm staying true to my risk and only increase my risk when it's I've calculated to do so, not just because I've caught a big trade. So yeah, I feel like sometimes you have to learn the hard way. But in terms of keeping a disciplined mind, it's just having a concrete plan. I feel like having a concrete plan, it does 70% of the battle psychologically, because if you don't have a concrete plan, what I mean by a concrete plan is that you pretty much mapped out everything in terms of your trading. So you kind of got everything in terms of your entries, your exits, risk, pairs you're trading, sessions, timing, when you're off the charts, when you're on the charts. If you can have your plan as detailed as possible, it leaves less and less room for you to do something stupid emotionally. Of course, your emotions will still be there, but if you got that plan to follow, it gives you that kind of anchor and helps you kind of battle those turbulent emotions. So I would say just have a detailed plan as possible and stay true to that. That should be your focus. Of course, great to have the big win, but you want to be focused on that plan because it what allowed you to have the big win in the first place. But from experience, it's always been difficult to learn that lesson without having to actually go through it yourself. I feel like that's the best teacher. I can tell you, manage your risk, focus on your plan. I can tell you that to the cows come home. But until you actually go through that yourself, you might not even learn the lesson properly. Which I feel like it's a bad and a good thing. It's a bad thing because you still make the mistake, but it's a good thing because I feel like you learn it properly that time. That's a good way, Lighton. That's a good way as well. That's a good way of managing wins as well. But yeah, hopefully that helped. But yeah, at the moment, I'm just going to see what happens with the pound yen position, silver. I don't really have any other trades which I'm looking to get into now. I'm just going to be managing the trades I'm in, to be honest. I like USD side of things. I like dollar CHF longs, but that's still a while away from a buy. I need price to break out this range, which has been in for about 3 or 4 weeks now. So still going to be waiting on that. I like Euro USD longs and pound USD longs as well. So waiting for pullbacks for those guys. Same thing with pound USD as well. Yen pairs. Like I said, I'm currently short pound yen. I'm not trying to get into another yen pair until I can get pound yen to break even. So yeah, I'm just gonna observe, see what happens there. Of course, manage the pound yen trade. I hopped into that on the daily chart. So the important thing is not getting too dragged into what the lower time frames are doing. It's more focused on the daily candle closures. Of course, look what silver does. Trail my stops to break even with that one. So the next thing for me to do is either maybe close early if I get some red flags, or just hold them back to the high, which is what I'm planning to do. And of course, Aussie TGF, I have trailed my stop loss with that one now. A bit further down, it's now here at 0.56341. If we can take out the low here, then I will drag it above that high there as well. So hopefully that can pick up the pace. We're not too far away from a break of that low, so hopefully we can do that pretty soon. But yeah, guys, that does wrap up things. What's up, Philip? Hope you're well. Been wanted to ask you if you keep a trading record on Word or Excel. If you do you mind sharing your template? I do have a very basic template. I keep it on Excel. Again, in terms of Excel, I kind of keep just so win, loss, break even, entry price, exit price, comments, and then the screenshots. And then I would have I don't have it on Word, I have it on Notion, which is where I kind of go in a bit more detail about the screenshots and about the reason why I entered the trade and what I saw, and maybe what I didn't see at the time, which I should have saw. And that's kind of what I pay more attention to. The Excel is just to have a record of my trades. But in terms of like learning and progressing and journaling, screenshots are the best thing to do. Take a screenshot before and after. Yeah, that's what will give you the best the best information in terms of improving your trading. But yeah, I keep it very simple in Excel. Just the pair I'm trading, so date and time, pair I'm trading, win, loss, break even, entry, exit, comments, and then screenshots. Yusuf, so basically when I eventually get a big win, I should burn my hand with a bit of fire to remind myself of the possible loss I'll get. Yeah, you could do that as well, Yusuf. You could do that as well, mate. Just make sure that hand is burnt. Just make sure it's burnt. But anyway, guys, we have come to the end of the stream. I will be live again tomorrow, as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So I know the clocks have changed, so it came out a bit weird today, but I probably should have said something on the Telegram or something to let you guys know. But yeah, clocks did go forward in the UK, so the time is still the same time as always in the UK, but of course, elsewhere in the world it will be different. So if you're ever concerned about the stream timings, I do put a notice up before it starts, but just 10 a.m. UK time. So yeah, wherever that is, I'll be live on the weekday. But yeah, I'll be live again, same time as always, in reference to the UK time, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. If you guys have enjoyed the stream, please be sure to drop a like. It does really help out. Subscribe to the channel. And of course, hit the bell too, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Check out the Elevate Trades Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that in the description below. You can join discussions, chat with other traders, chat with myself. I share ideas there. You can do as well. You can find out more updates about Elevate Traders if you're looking for it as well. So if you are interested, check it out. Discord's free to join. Link in the description and also at the top of the chat. But guys, really appreciate you coming onto the stream. I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll see you all tomorrow.